Marc Stevens, author of Government Indicted and Adventures in Legal Land. The website, of course, is markstevens.net. The radio show is the No State Project, where we work to bring about a voluntary society one show at a time. It's live every Saturday from 4 to 7 Eastern Standard Time on a Liberty Radio network. That is LRN.FM. So if you disagree with something I present in this video or anything on the show, anything at markstevens.net, feel free to call when we are live, and you can also Skype me at Frank Rizzo 3 if you want to join the show. But this is going to be another addition to the success stories. Again, this is no indication that you'll be able to repeat all the hundreds of tickets that have been thrown out. It's no guarantee of any success if somebody was to, it doesn't matter if you're dealing with psychopaths ultimately, so it's great when we get the success stories, but that's not all we talk about here. We also talk about the train wrecks. But having a ticket thrown out does not mean, just because Al, and I want to thank Al again publicly for sending me the document we'll get to in just a moment, just because his was thrown out is no evidence whatsoever, and it's certainly no guarantee that if you do the same thing, that the psychopath with the robe who is forcing you to participate is going to do the right thing. After all, psychopaths tend not to do the right thing or the moral thing. But it is, nonetheless, a success story. So we'll go down here. We'll check this out. It's a little unusual. I've never actually seen this before. But I know for the haters, the critics out there, it comes to us from the Los Angeles Superior Court, which most would probably agree, as far as political courts goes. Kind of it's a real court. So Al it was actually for his wife. He was the one that actually redacted his wife's name, which is fine. It's not really necessary. But again, I've never seen anything like this before. I usually tell people that and this is, again, California, a trial by written declaration is, to me, usually the same thing as a plea of guilty. It's just a formality before you pay the fine, because you're invariably going to be found guilty. But that did not happen. What Al did was he got a motion to a demur from me, where you can also order yours. It's here under the store. But he had gotten a demur and filed that. From what I got from the email, there was no response back from the police officer or a prosecutor. And what the demur is doing is that the prosecutor or the police officer has not set forth sufficient facts to set forth an actual offense or a charge, and that's because they're charging you. They're alleging that you have violated their code, their sacred code, but they don't actually have any facts that would lead a reasonable person to believe that the code applies in the first place. So you're being charged or they're alleging that you violated some sacred code, but there's no actual proof that it applies in the first place. So from strictly a factual standpoint, because all you have is the allegation on the ticket, it's insufficient to set forth an actual charge, and because that's an element. And there is no violation if it doesn't apply in the first place. Now, I know that, well, of course she's in California, or she's in California, of course the laws apply. Well, we know that's not actually true. There's no actual proof to support the argument that if you're physically in California, then the Constitution laws of the state of California actually apply to you. There's no actual proof to that. And anyone who thinks that there is actual proof, you're more than welcome to call us during a live show, or I'll set you up as a guest. Give the opportunity to present that evidence, because as we go through our the call of shames, not one politician, and that includes those in California, have ever been able to produce a shred of evidence that the Constitution and Code apply to anyone just because you're physically in California or wherever you happen to be. So after a number of weeks, the judge did the right thing. He found not guilty. That the ticket, that the demur could not be overcome. He should have just sustained the demur, but that would have been an opportunity for them to bring it back. So obviously there weren't enough facts presented to find Al's wife guilty, and so it was a not guilty. It was very surprising, of course, considering trial by declaration, again, is usually a plea of guilty. So big congratulations there. Let's see. This is also, wow, they probably are choking on that one, because the judge, let's see, not guilty, trial by declaration, a judicial officer, some Anthony Peters, I don't know Wow. But they ordered the clerk to refund them the bail amount, which is really kind of silly, because why should anybody be expected to put up a bail on a complaint where the complaint has absolutely no facts whatsoever that would support the argument the Constitution and Code apply, and that there's any jurisdiction at all? But that's what they do. Like, they charge you, if you want to defend yourself, you have to pay us. But big congratulations to Al's wife and him for doing it, and for Al for getting the paperwork, the demur, and standing up to these bullies, because that's exactly what they are. And I do appreciate him sending me this documentary proof. And of course, the disclaimer, again, like I've already mentioned, no, I know it's just traffic, but the same issues that we'd raise in a drug possession or tax evasion are there, because it all is based on the same operating presumption. If you are physically in Canada or the U.S., the laws of that particular government, the occupying government, apply to you. But there's no actual proof to support that whatsoever. Again, if you disagree with that, hey, call the show. We're live every Saturday from 4 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. And you can also on Skype if you'd like to be set up as a guest, or if you need to pre-record a show so that you can present your proof, your facts, that just because I'm physically in Arizona or physically in California, that the Constitution and Code actually apply to me. Again, my name is Marc Stevens. Website is marcstevens.net.